We need.
Order. The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I firstly also add my voice to the others in the House who have acknowledged the tragedy that has struck Japan? That they have potentially lost more than 10,000 people in this disaster is absolutely horrific. It has been incredibly difficult enough to come to terms with the number of lives we have lost in Canterbury, but we can't simply comprehend the pain had we lost anywhere near the number of people that Japan has, and our thoughts and our prayers are certainly with them as they go through a rebuilding stage as well. Mr Speaker, whilst the eyes of the world are quite rightly focused on the volatile situation in Japan, we continue to forge ahead with the recovery and rebuilding of Christchurch. Can I first of all congratulate, with some disappointment, I'd have to say, Auckland for getting the Canterbury Rugby World Cup games. It has just been announced. This will be a disappointment and an emotional blow for rugby-mad Canterbury, and I'm one of them. But at least now, Mr Speaker, we can move on and look at the big and bigger picture of rebuilding Christchurch and Canterbury. Mr Speaker, no one is disputing that rebuilding Christchurch and indeed Canterbury is going to be a long road and a difficult task. It will be many months before the CBD will be safe and secure enough for construction to begin. At this point, we simply do not know how long it will take to return the city to the buzzing, vibrant metropolis it was prior to the September and February quakes. Mr Speaker, I had an interesting walk. Well, interesting is probably a
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure whether you're meant to do this immediately or at the end of a speech. So I thought I'd better do it immediately in case I missed the chance. I require, if the Minister is speaking, when she spoke to the Rugby World Cup, if she is speaking from an official document, for that to be tabled. If it's just her speech notes, then of course I can't.
Order. As I recollect the standing orders, if the Minister is quoting from a document, just referring to an issue, there's no requirement at all to. If she was quoting from a document, I'll refer to the Minister just to make sure I'm not getting this wrong. Was the Minister quoting from an official document?
No, Mr Speaker, I'm referring to a 3 news-breaking announcement, and it's very difficult to table such a verbal announcement.
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. As I was saying, I had an interesting walk around the CBD on Sunday with the USAR engineer, and whilst the devastation is horrific, there are some positives. It is interesting how, though the earthquake has affected ordinary lives, there are daily tasks that Cantabrians can no longer do. There are basic tasks that they can't do, but there are simple tasks like where is the dentist, where is the hairdresser, where is the shop that we used to do our shopping. Those simple things will take a long, long time to actually heal. But, Mr Speaker, there are some positives, and I want to dwell a wee bit on the positives. Without doubt, there were some buildings that, as the engineer probably professionally said, quote, misbehaved, unquote. But actually some withstood the shakes and they held up. And I think that we have to take some strength from that some of those buildings had been earthquake strengthened, and that it was pleasing to see that the strengthening actually did work. Some buildings look okay, but they aren't. Some buildings look bad, but they are okay. And what is interesting too is the random nature of the damage, and that, Mr Speaker, I think is very difficult to comprehend.
Order.
Mr Speaker, what we do know is that there isn't a single person in this country that isn't behind the people of Canterbury, and as a Cantabrian I thank the nation for that. They know that a thriving and successful Canterbury is crucial to New Zealand's future. Cantabrians know it, and they're determined to reclaim their lives and their city. Each day there is a constant reminder of how amazing our communities in New Zealand are, how strong they are, how resilient they are, and how generous they are. There's simply not enough superlatives to describe how highly I regard the volunteers who worked tirelessly for days and weeks on end. Despite the overwhelming chaos that they themselves faced with, they just got on with it one step at a time, and they have been truly remarkable. The government itself has a mammoth task ahead of it to provide all the possible support it can to the Canterbury region. I believe that Friday's memorial is an important event for the region. There are huge numbers of people who have not stopped even once to reflect on what has happened. They haven't been able to, not when they can see how much there is still to do. This is true not only for the general public, but also for our policemen, firefighters, doctors, nurses, civil defence staff and many others. The focus of this year must be on planning the way forward for Christchurch and for Canterbury, but Friday is about taking a step back and stopping to recognise the huge emotional impact the earthquake has had on all of us. It will be tough, Mr Speaker, but I strongly believe it will help. Mr Speaker, can I congratulate also the cooperation between the schools, and we took the effort is
Grant
superb.
Robertson.
Mr Speaker, I too want to join with other colleagues and express